So clearly that 5-year-old boy that was shot in the face the other day at point blank range because he was driving his bike on a black guy's lawn clearly deserved getting shot in the face because he most likely said something racist to the black guy. You know, it doesn't matter how old a white person is, they're always racist. And you know, it's better to nip it in the bud when they're young, to get rid of them when they're young, because they're just going to grow up to be white supremacists that are going to impose their white supremacy on you. So really it's not a loss whatsoever. And you know, the media, they cover all cases equally, right? You know, I see a lot of people on Twitter saying, oh, this white kid, the difference between this white and black victim is the black guy got charged right away. And with George Floyd, it took a while for them to be prosecuted, and all these black criminals, or all these black people get shot and killed, and nobody gets prosecuted, and nobody ever gets held accountable for doing bad things to black people. But immediately when something bad happens to a white person, people get held accountable. And you know, that's complete fucking bullshit anyways. You know, the law, you know, gives leniency to people of color. You know, if you look at crime statistics and you control for criminality, black people are actually less likely to be shot by the police, even though they commit more crime. So, you know, a lot of this stuff is just complete nonsense. You know, they're gonna try to justify this little kid's death, and you know, they're already doing it. I see a lot of it already, and be like, oh, you know, this black guy, you know, something bad probably happened to him as a child, yada yada yada. Make excuses for the guy. Let's be sympathetic towards him, but you know, there's a white racist somewhere, and everybody's like, we need to throw him in the fucking gulag, right? Which is crazy, but you know, this is the world we live in right now. We live in a world where there's anti-white rhetoric all over the place, or just white hatred. That's pretty much what it is. You know, it's just white hate. And you know, the media is definitely a part of it, plays a huge role in this. And you see companies like CNN, the way they report this as opposed to other cases, right? What these liberals don't understand is they think about, like, oh, see, this guy was apprehended. That's the difference between white people getting killed and black people getting killed. And you're like, that's not even the argument, right? The argument is that the media purposely promote stories where white people kill black people, even when they're not in the law enforcement. You know, I saw a tweet today where somebody screenshotted 3 articles from CNN. In Charlottesville, they're like, white man beats black protester. Another thing, little white girl gets hate speech charged because she said something to a little black girl, right? White person does this to black person. But then you see the one with the little boy, little 5-year-old boy, it's little boy gets shot by going on some guy's lawn, right? No mention of race whatsoever. And once again, I'm not saying that we should be focusing on race for every story, but this is what the media does. And we're pointing that out. And we're not saying, hey, we want the media to promote every story that is between white and black people, and they gotta, you know, create more division every time a story like this comes out. No, that's not what I want. That's not what most people want. But they want the media to stop creating the perception that all white people are bad, are racist, are oppressive, and that we want to, that there's like, we're trying to kill black people, because that's what they're trying to promote. When you look at white on black violence compared to black on white violence, it's not even close. You know, they kill way more white people than white people kill black people. And there's way more of them in America, but there's way more white people in America, but still they surpass the amount of interracial violence, right? So, you know, the only people who need to worry a lot of the times are white people. They need to worry about immigration. They need to worry about different groups of people coming into their neighborhoods. You know, they talk about gentrification all the time. Oh, gentrified, oh, you gentrified this neighborhood, blah, 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 blah. But what about all the neighborhoods that were ghettoized, right? What about all the neighborhoods that were nice, that were good? and then now are shitholes because a bunch of people came in and lived there, right? What about that? They never talk about that, about the destruction of good neighborhoods that happen all over the place, that happens everywhere, right? You know, we get a bunch of immigrants move in or whatever, minorities, and they go and they end up ruining the place. Like, that's just the way it is. I'm not trying to be racist or mean, but that's just the way it is. And, you know, it's fucked up that what happened to this little boy. And, you know, you just see the level of bitterness and hate that people have towards white people with the way that they react towards this case, right? And multiple other cases. You know, they say they care about police brutality, but they don't. They only care about police violence against other black people or other minorities. But if it's towards a white person, they laugh, right? Or whatnot. You know, there's another guy, white guy, just recently kicked in the side of the face. Like, some guy ran behind him, a security guard, and hoofed him right in the face. He's in intensive care right now because he was trying to protect a white tranny, right? So who do you think is higher on the oppression poll, a white tranny or a black man? It's obviously the black man, so they're not going to say anything about this. But, you know, if a Trump supporter went and hoofed a fucking liberal, a black guy in the face, it would be international news. But we've seen multiple instances of this shit going on in Portland and whatnot, where that one guy, you know, and then they tried to release fake news about that guy, saying that, oh, he was saying racial slurs and trying to run protesters over and all this crap, which is just bullshit. He was out there trying to protect that transsexual, and then he got attacked for that, right? But the media is completely silent on that. They're not going to focus on it. You know, they're gonna come in after Antifa throws bottles of piss and rocks and stones at the police officers. Then when the police officers react, then they're gonna say, oh, police attacked peaceful protesters, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I was reading something just yesterday where it was Antifa, and they were saying their whole plan is to get officers to react so then they can make them look bad, right? And I'm not even a fan of the police. I don't like the police, right? But, you know, these people are making me defend the police, and, you know, they're making me support them. Well, when it comes to this, but, you know, I still think they're tax collectors and whatnot, and they're, you know, they have a monopoly on force, and we need to restructure the police force. And I think there is a problem with excessive force used on people, but it's not a racial thing. They abuse their power on lots of people. But, you know, like I said about that kid, he deserved it because he said something racist, I'm assuming, and, you know, less white people just means the world is going to be a better place. You know, once we're gone, everything is going to be a utopia. Africa is going to become a really rich country and stuff. And all these things are going to be better, right? So, you know, a lot of the times I see all this shit going on right now, and I just want to let it burn. I just want to all let it burn down. I'm like, good. You know what? I hope these people get what they want. I hope, you know, they do get into these positions of power. I hope they do get rid of all the white people running shit, so then they can really fucking see how horrible shit is gonna be when they take over. Because you know what? You know, a lot of these people coming into the country, a lot of immigrants coming into the country do not have a history of civilization, right? They don't. I'm sorry to say, you know, a lot of people 100 years ago, a few hundred years ago, and even today, are still living like hunter-gatherers. You know, they're 10, 12,000 years behind a lot of the rest of the world when it comes to technology advancements, the way of thinking, whatever. You know, these people, they're still tribal people. They're still used to living in tribes. A lot of people are not used to living in civilizations and stuff. They don't have a history of that. So if we expect them just to take over and have society run just like it was before and have everything running well, you know, you got another thing coming, right? You know, you expect a bunch of tribal people from Africa to know how to run a fucking country? No, they don't have thousands and thousands of years of history living in large groups, living in societies like this. And I'm not going to say every African, there were some African cities and whatever and whatnot, but, you know, that's not going to happen. And even when it comes to that too, let's just say they are able to live in a society or create a civilization. Well, people are tribalistic, and they're not going to want to live in a civilization with mixed people, or with like white people controlling shit. You know, they're going to want to live in a place like the Chinese, where all Chinese people are running shit, right? They have a history of civilization and creating cultures and large cities and whatever, and whatever, but they still don't like white people, and they want to replace us in our own countries, and they want to steal our resources. And you know, because a lot of people, minorities, think that white people are evil, white people have stole everything that they've earned, which is bullshit. You know, we all started on Earth at the same fucking time, right? We've all been here for the same amount of time, so we've all had the same exact opportunity. You know, white people were just we're just better at it, right? We were just better at conquering. We're better at doing this shit. It's not because of privilege and this or that. It's because we were more efficient, okay? Because we were better at doing shit. That's it. You know, it's not because of white supremacy. It's because your country or your people were not capable of defending themselves. We're not capable of doing lots of stuff that Europeans were able to do, right? If you know, people seem to act like they like there's some noble savages out there, right? That like, oh, it's only European culture that's bad, colonization, and all these other groups were just living in peace and harmony with each other before the evil white man came around. It's like, shut the fuck up. All humans did conquest. All humans would take the shit of their neighbors if they had the ability to do it throughout the majority of history. And the thing is, white people were just a lot better at it. Okay, so, you know, let's see how things run without us in control. You know, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be any better. Your lives are not going to be any better whatsoever. You know, your lives will be better when white people control their own countries, right? You know, you want us to do this, but, you know, this whole anti-white shit is going on right now all over the world, these protests, and, you know, the whole goal of that is just to demonize us, to dehumanize us more, to get people to try to kill us, right? To try to scare us, to hurt us, to make us scared to say anything, right? They don't want to take away our guns, so Antifa can roam around the streets and go onto your street and yell at your home and threaten to break in and break your shit because your neighborhood is too fucking white, which is what they're doing right now in Portland. They're going to like white neighborhoods, yelling at white people, saying, get the fuck out of this neighborhood. This was our neighborhood. Blah, 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 right? So it's going to be some interesting times coming up ahead, but, you know, you got to remember, you know, life is like the phoenix, right? You know, it rises out of the ashes, and something better will take its place. Right now, it's pretty fucked. But the world is sick. Society is sick. And it needs to be changed. It needs to be altered. And, you know, when society crumbles, it doesn't mean everything goes away. The people are still here. We'll still be here. We can still pick up the pieces and remake things better. But I was thinking about that also, and the difference between us and history today is that throughout history, when societies crumbled, when Rome crumbled, when Greece crumbled, when all these countries crumbled, they still had the people that were the same. They still had the same demographics, right? They're all Greeks. So even when the leaders fell and the dictators, whatever, fell, the people were still there. But now, when society collapses, when our countries collapse, it's not going to be just the Greeks at the bottom, right? It's going to be a huge amalgamation of different groups of people that have different ideas, that want different things, and there's going to be tons of killing, bloodshed, and war for power and resources and land, right? That's what we're heading towards, because we are not demographically the same or similar enough. We are too different, and that's going to create problems when things collapse. And if things collapsed when we had more of a what do you call it, homogenous society, then it wouldn't be so bad. That would be a good thing to a large extent. But you know, that's why I'm almost for speeding up the collapse. You know, I don't want the conservatives to win. Yes, they're better than the liberals, but they're just going to prolong things for longer. It may be better to have a collapse now while we still have a demographic majority in Canada, so then we can pick up the pieces and rebuild. But if we wait 10, 15 years, the demographics are going to be so changed that when a collapse does happen, we're going to be fucked. And we're going to have a lot less at our disposal than we would have if we were homogenous, right? We're going to have a lot less land to choose from, right? Unless we're homogenous. But, you know I'm going on a ramble and stuff like that, but I haven't really made content in a while, and I just thought I'd make a video, talk about some stuff that's been going on recently, and you know, maybe I'll make some more soon as well. But hope you're all having a great day. Take it easy. Bye.